Hello everyone, welcome to Chess4Unity's third Saturday event. My name is Vincent Say and I will be your host for today, and we will be watching and reviewing the games during the event. So, just kind of a brief introduction for myself. I am a FIDE master as well as a national master as well, and I am a senior in high school as well, which means college application season. So let's get it started. My first opponent will be Unicorn, and he starts out with d4. So good luck to Unicorn. So I return with d5, and just a basic move controlling the center squares of e4, c4, and now white has a plethora of options that he can choose from. Okay, so white plays bishop f4, the London system, and now let us go c5, immediately challenging the center on d4. And one of the lines, if d takes c5, I go knight c6 with the idea of e5. So let's see what white decides to do. So e3, which makes a lot of sense. And now let's go e6. Now this bishop protects the c5 pawn. So if he takes, I have nothing to worry about because my bishop just takes back. Okay, let's see what he decides to do. Knight f3 makes a lot of sense. Let's see where I go. So if I go bishop d6, white can go bishop b5 check. Knight c6. Not sure I like that very much. Actually, now that I think about it, it's not a terrible option. I go bishop d6, white goes bishop b5 check, I go knight c6. White can try to go knight e5. Then I can play knight e7. Okay, I mean, since I'm doing that, I might as well go knight c6 in the first place. Bishop d6, knight e7, kind of my idea. Possibly take on d4 first as well, just to avoid any complications in the center. Okay, let's check out some other games that are going on here. Okay. Also, just to introduce our third Saturday event, which is the event going on right now. This event is organized by Chess4Unity, and we are an organization that hopes to provide opportunities for young kids to play chess and interact and form an online chess community. So if you want to know more about us and what we do, please visit chess4unity.com, chess, the number 4, unity.com. And you'll find a lot more information, including information on this specific event, which is free to attend actually. And first play, there's 3 different sections. open section, which is what you're watching right now. There's the under 1200 section and under 600 section. Each section has prize money. And first place is $30, second place $15. And good thing, it's all free to attend. So win-win for you. More chess experience and free opportunities for prize money. So if you're interested in that, be sure to visit Chess4Unity.com. So what happened on the last two moves? I offered a bishop trade, he took it, and now I'm very comfortable with my position. Why? Well, first of all, let me see. As you can see, Black's really main goal out of the opening, Black should not really expect any more than equality. And anything more than that is Black should be happy about it, regardless of how small that advantage is. And in this case, I believe that Black has achieved equality in this case. The position, both sides are pretty much equally developed, and White doesn't have control over the center. And yeah, the pawn structure seems to be well for both sides. My knight has opportunities of traveling to f5. Of course, like anything else, it's not so simple, but I could not expect more out of an opening position. Okay, let's go c takes d4. And my idea here is to go, White pretty much takes back, and my idea here is to go queen b4. And this move is interesting because it attacks both the d4 pawn, the b2 pawn, and the b5 bishop. And really there's no way for Black to protect all of it. I mean, for White to protect all of it. Bishop takes c6 is expected. Now I take back with the knight, and again, you have to deal with these two problems. White has the move knight b3, which protects everything. However, during that transaction, I have the light square bishop as an advantage. So it's not a huge advantage, but you know, I think it's definitely progress. b6. Let's open up the bishop, possibly to go to a6. Honestly, now that I look back, I probably in this position, bishop takes c6, should have taken back with the b pawn. That way I can go c5, plan c5 at least. Yeah, a small oversight by myself. Could have promised more chances, but you know, no time to regret. No time for regrets. Okay, let's go queen a4, which looks a bit strange, but I think the queen is pretty safe here, and it does allow me to put some extra pressure on the queen side, right? Bishop a6, rook c8, and maybe the c2 pawn with this queen on a4 could help. Okay, that's a little bit of a strange move because it really welcomes me to play bishop a6, which was the move that I wanted to play in the first place. Queen e3 is pretty much, I think, natural move here. Queen e3, now I go rook c8. Just keep on developing my pieces. I think white can actually try to advance a little bit on the queen side, king side. I mean, I doubt it'll work very well because I feel like white doesn't have enough pieces to create some sort of substantial attack. But the problem is I have no pieces on the queen side, so that could work to his advantage for sure. Let's go h6 just to prevent any knight g5 ideas. And you know, h6 is normally not a bad idea. Though I have to admit, honestly, it was probably a little bit too early for h6. I think I could have had a more useful move with something like knight e7, which I think I'm going to play right now. Actually, you know what? I just thought of doubling rooks. My rook on f8 is doing nothing. You might as well make yourself useful by piling up on the c file. At least you're attacking something in that case. For me, if I were white, I would probably play knight bd2 right now because I would desperately want to play the move c3. But right now you can't play c3 if you're white because if you play c3, the knight on b3 is hanging. Okay. Let's go rook c8. Continue with our plan. Now I'm threatening knight takes e5, and the c2 pawn is hanging. And again, see, that's why white probably should have played knight bd2 in the first place, because now white can't play c3. It's a little late for that. Okay, knight takes c6, rook takes c6. I'm not exactly sure how white plans to respond. Oh, maybe just queen d2, I guess. Yeah, I didn't realize that was just an easy option. But again, I can't say I'm unhappy about this development. Okay, so I'm gonna go rook c4 in this position, just to prevent this white knight from moving even to a1. The white knight moves to a1, this d4 pawn is hanging. So I wanted to avoid that. Okay, now I see the problem here is that there's no way for me to continue putting this pressure. And that is honestly quite annoying because I feel like my opponent could have some leverage here. Go rook g3 and try to do something, although that seems quite a bit slow. Okay, so I feel like my plan definitely backfired. Now I have to watch out a little bit. Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that white has no attack because just the lack of pieces. White goes rook g3, I just go something like king h8. Ooh, okay. Queen h... I see what white wants to do. He wants to go queen g4. I see. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, I think I'm gonna... Let's head back to c7. Oh, white is... I missed that. White wants to play c3. Okay, that's a smart idea. The queen goes on d1 to protect the knight on b3. Completely missed that. That is definitely an intelligent idea. Okay, and then once he plays c3, that could actually be beneficial for myself as well. Because then he's tied down. But okay, queen e1. A little bit of a strange move. Oh. Yeah, definitely a bit strange. It might be just an oversight here. Unless white wanted to play rook takes e6, but there's no perpetual check. Okay, yeah, that tells me that it was an oversight. Okay, let's go. Rook takes c3, and f1 check. Now let's gobble up that pawn. 2 pawns should be more than sufficient. Start with g6. Okay, I gotta be a little bit careful. I'm being very clumsy here. It's not over until it's over. Gotta remember that. Okay, we can go here. King g7. He goes knight e5. Yeah, there's no way for him to penetrate because my queen defends this f7 pawn. Oh, okay, I like that move. I mean, for me, because The moment I get my bishop on c4, I feel like all counterplay is off. Though, you know what? I think I want to keep my bishop, actually. Could be useful. My opponent is pretty much tied down. I don't mind trading that. How should I... The one thing I don't want to do here is play slow. So let's move. And get myself into time trouble. Because that's when the damage can start being done. F2. Bishop F1 idea. Okay, yeah. I expected that, and now let's go bishop F1. He goes queen E5 check, because that's the only check you have left, and then I go king H7. And now you're forced to go queen G3 to prevent mate. I mean, you can go queen there, but I go F6. Yeah. And once you play queen G3, I'm not worried anymore. I think I'll just take 2 pawns. In an endgame in this sort of position, that's more than enough. Especially since my bishop protects this A6 pawn, so there's nothing to worry about there as well. Okay. I don't mind that because now there's another pawn on the light square. And I will just move my king all the way around. Goes 95, I go F6. King D6. King D7. Okay, let's be a little bit more careful here. F5. Just gonna wait around a little bit, see what happens. Okay, let's go F4 now, finally. He goes 95. Yeah, that one. Second, yeah. He's gonna go 95. And I just go king there. That should do the job. If knight takes c4, I'm just gonna give an in-between check g4 and then take back on c4. The key is to play fast. when you have an advantage, the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position where time is an issue. Because when time becomes an issue, that advantage is not very safe anymore. Okay. Once my king penetrates, it's game over. Bam, bam, bam. F3. We can go F2. It's fine. King E2. And now either queen or white takes. Either way, it should be good. Okay, so takes. Now I'll just eat the rest of the pawns. And the rest is self-explanatory. Just push. King A1. Let's go rook. Okay, checkmate. Okay. That was an interesting game, Unicorn. This is a very tough fight. I think definitely Queen E1 was the decisive mistake. But before that, it was a very, very, very interesting game. Let's go back, look at it for a second, debrief. So the key moment came here, where white just played Queen E1 and blundered the C2 pawn. Instead, I do want to look at this line though, where white plays rook takes e6, and I feel like originally this might look like a possibility, but after King HA we realized that this E8 square is covered by the queen. So, and this is obviously covered by both the bishop and the rook. So in this position, white just resigns because white doesn't have any checks, and that's a rook you're giving up. So that was one of the variations we looked at. Here, instead, maybe c3 promises better chances. This knight is protected. I was probably going to go something like queen a4, but then you can always go knight d2. And, oh, don't go knight d2 here, because queen takes d4. That's another tricky, interesting move, where black has the advantage there. Black probably wins. So, yeah, that's also a tricky moment. Maybe something like knight a1. Looks ugly, but honestly, like, black has nothing better to do other than takes, and this looks equal to me. I think if both sides play decently after this, the game's going to end in a draw. So, but again, it's always these critical moments that really define a game. Yeah. Okay, so let's see if there's any other games for us to look at. Maybe analyze as well. Okay, so this game is between Old Wet Plant and Dragon Legend, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it seems like black is just winning. Yeah. Looks like 3 pawns up. Unless the possibility of something unforeseen, black should win this game. Okay, let's check this game. Well, trying to get to another game, but chess.com is not letting me. Okay, so let's kind of take a little more time on this game, see what's going on. Black's best strategy here is to just keep on pushing until white has no choice but to give up, because white has this solid structure which you can't really break through unless you start pushing these pawns, right? Think about it this way. If black manages to push this pawn continue down, this white queen can't move because it's too busy protecting this rook, right? So black can use the kingside pawns as a decoy in order to get what black wants. Like in this case, black can play a5, right? Probably what I would play, because if queen takes a5, queen takes d4. So white can't take the pawn on a5, and because you can't take the pawn on a5, black can just keep on moving these pawns down the board, right? I think that's probably the best way to proceed in this position. Okay. Yeah, f3, I understand the move, but... Oh, okay, I see that nice queen d3 in between move, where... Okay, and then now you take back with the queen, and... That definitely is an advantage for white, so that's a nice, interesting idea about white, to kind of... Whoa! Okay, I think because black is so winning, it doesn't really matter, but black needs to be a little bit more careful. Like, cause okay, queen f5. I guess in this case you can play king g8. Okay, queen f4 was played. Rook f6. Queen e5 is forced. Oh, queen d2 too. Yeah, in this case, black is so winning that it doesn't really matter, but... Oh, white! This is what I mean when I say... This is a good lesson for every single person watching this video to learn. This is what I mean by you must manage your time, right? Or else these positions which look easily winning, and I'm sure if this went on, black would probably win this position, but because black didn't manage his time very well, it ultimately ended up costing him the game. Yeah, so time management is especially important in a winning position, because in a winning position, you don't care how much time your opponent has. It doesn't matter, because you only should care about how much time you have. Because you know that if you play up to your abilities, it doesn't matter how much your opponent has, how much time your opponent has, you will win the game because you have a winning position. But if you're in a losing position, that's when you should start thinking about what kind of moves would force my opponent, the winning side, to think more. Because you want your opponent to be in time trouble when you're losing, because then the winning side, the chances of them making a mistake increases. So an important part of chess is that sort of strategy and strategic thinking. And following those principles can really, it might not accelerate your chess career, but it definitely can help you win or draw some games once in a while. And, you know, those kind of situations add up. Okay. In an interesting move order, we get to a position called the Catalan. So one of the ideas behind this, because g3 seems like a very strange move. Usually in a Catalan, white goes knight f3 first and then g3. But one of the purposes of g3 is to avoid the queen's Indian with bishop b6, bishop b7. So you can imagine after g3, black plays if black plays b6, I just go bishop g2, attack this rook. But in a situation when white plays knight f3, this is this type of position where black can play d5 and transpose into the Catalan, but black also has options with playing b6, bishop b7, and the queen's Indian, which is a very solid opening. Okay, but in this case, we get a Catalan, so let's do it. Okay, queen c2, a6, a4. No surprises so far. This is known as what we call the open Catalan. Going back a few moves, the Catalan is a very flexible opening, and with flexible openings has its drawbacks, meaning that in this case, in the Catalan, black has so many different setups you can do, right? Black has the choice to play bishop b4, c6, knight b d7, bishop e7 like my opponent played, d takes c4 is one of the main moves, c5 is another move, b6 is another move, not a very great move, but still, all of this, a6 is another move. So all of this needs to be considered. And that's one of the drawbacks of playing such a flexible opening, the fact that there's so many variations possible. And a lot of them are variations that should be prepared for. Interesting scenario because queen takes c4 can be met by b5, an interesting move. Let's see. Yeah, I was looking at another move, knight a3, which honestly looks like an interesting move to me, so I'm just going to play it. The idea is the dark square bishop is one of the most annoying pieces and one of the most important pieces for black in this variation. Oh, hold on. Okay, that's an interesting move. I did not see that, honestly. Okay, let's go bishop d2. No, there's nothing else. I have to prevent knight b4. Yeah, but that's definitely an oversight by me. Not seeing this move b5, which is very interesting because the idea is if I takes, I cannot take this pawn back because this a1 rook is hanging, right? So instead, yeah, bishop d2 I guess is the only option. Well, not the only option, but there's not many good ones. So this is a very intelligent move by black. And now, I mean, black has a few options. Okay, bishop b7 is possible. But that means that black is willing to give up the dark square bishop, right? Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough. I guess I'm not gonna complain too hard because I kind of wanted black to give it the dark square bishop. This is not ideal circumstances. Let me see how to best proceed here. Okay, well, let us do this. Let's take. Black takes back. And let's go b3. The idea of this kind of b3 idea, which you'll see a lot actually, is I'm trying to undermine black structure. So in this position, white is down a pawn, right? So where does my compensation come from? The bishop pair. So what we want to do in this position is kind of open up the lanes for both the bishop and the queen, the rooks, and put some pressure on black. And it's very difficult to put pressure on black with this sort of very solid pawn structure. So I'm willing to admit that I'm down a pawn, but in return, I want to open up the position. So that's kind of the point. Okay, so my opponent sees that, but that looks like a costly move. Yeah, I think slight problem with my opponent's idea is knight g5. Yes, so queen takes h7 is a threat. g6 is pretty much the only move. And then this bishop on a8 is hanging. Oops, not that. This bishop is on a8 hanging. And the idea of knight g5 is that it's a double attack pretty much on threatening checkmate and also threatening this bishop on a8. But that's not enough to see. We have to see that after g6, bishop takes a8, black has an opportunity to play knight takes d2, queen takes d2, and in this case, my knight is protected by the queen. We'll see what happens. We'll see that variation play out because it's likely forced. There's really no other idea for black. Okay, g6, like I said, bishop takes a8. Hopefully black plays knight d2 so I can kind of share the variation. But black might just play something like c6 instead as well, which makes sense. But c6 has its problems. Let's put it that way. c6, I got knight e4. And this whole these dark squares become super weak. But again, like right now, I'm up a piece, right? So if black doesn't do anything, then I'm just up a piece, which is not good for black. Okay, let's check out some other games while we're waiting. Okay, let's check board 2. Oh, damn it. Okay, let's go back. Okay, queen takes d4 is a possibility for black. But again, I go bishop c3. And while it may seem like the assault is over, I'm actually just getting started. These dark squares are super weak, but again, I think black made the right decision going for this. At least in this position, black is not giving up, let's put it this way. So I have to try to find a way to kind of make the right choices in this situation. Okay, queen c5 I think is blunder. 94. Okay, but it's a little too late for that. Right, just knight f6. And I'm just going to go rook a1 next. Either king g7 or king h8, obviously it's forced. And honestly, like at that point, I can really play anything. Knight takes it, knight anywhere is good. But rook a1, attacking the queen, protecting this a8 bishop, keeping the discovery check. Right now, I can move this knight and have this discovery check. And of course, because of the circumstances in this position, it's easily winning. But sometimes what's more dangerous than a fist... Okay, I'm going to make this analogy. Sometimes it's more dangerous. What's more dangerous than a fist, a punch in the face, is the thought of you're gonna get punched in the face. So what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes keeping the discovery check possible, right, is more dangerous than kind of revealing the fact that you're gonna do a discovery check. You know, I'm really trying to explain this in the best way possible, but I feel like I'm not doing that. Okay, anyways, let's see. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, knight a6 is a good move. It's really the only one. Okay, so I guess we can just go knight d7. I will settle for a rook up. What happens if I play queen c1 here? Honestly, just really, really out of curiosity, what happens if I play queen c1? Is that going to be bad? You know what? Let's do it. Queen c1. My idea is to just move my queen to h6, add another attacker. The position... I mean, I have so much material here that it's worth trying this out. If queen takes a8, I just go queen there. Okay. So what else is possible? Yeah, there's just way too many threats on the king side, I think, for black to deal with everything. Plus the fact that white has the material advantage here. Material advantage here. Okay, I'm really... gonna try to check other games, but right now my computer is freezing. So let me refresh this, and hopefully that allows me to examine other games in the tournament. And hopefully it doesn't kick me out of the tournament, because that would be bad. Okay, so that was the game I was looking for. Let's X that chess.com advertisement out. But first, okay, so this is the second board between Matthew D and Old Wet Plant. Let's see what's going on here. Material is equal, but Black definitely has a good position, I would say. Right, obviously the pawn structure favors Black. I think that gives Black definitely a slight advantage at least. Black's best idea is to possibly double up rooks on the d file and maybe bring the king over to the queen side, where it could be more useful. Okay, so there you go. At least we're back to our game. And I didn't lose yet, so that must be a good sign. Okay, let's go. Queen h6. The only move to prevent immediate mate is f6. And now let's continue the attack. Rook takes a6. And anything. Black goes queen d8. We can go bishop f6. No, Black goes queen d8. We can just go anything, honestly. Okay. Okay, queen c8. Now let's just take on f6 with check. Where rook takes is forced, pretty much. Bishop takes f6. Black doesn't have time to take the rook because queen g7 is checkmate. Black has to play queen d7 or queen f8, possibly. And if queen f8, I go rook a8. Interesting trick up the sleeves. Okay, yeah. So there's two possibilities. Okay, queen f8, and now let's play this beautiful rook a8, which forces Black to take, and then queen g7 is checkmate. Okay, Fishdom Legend. Good game. Let's see. Okay, now we have time to finish our game, so let's check some other games that are going on here. If you're just joining us, my name is Vincent Say, and I am hosting the live stream for Chess4Unity's third Saturday event. This event occurs each third Saturday of each month. and it's all free to attend, and there are prize money. There are prizes. We have 3 sections, under 600, under 1200, and the open section, you're welcome to play in any of them as long as, like, you can only play in under 1200 if you're under 1200, obviously. And yeah, so if you're interested in learning more about this event and how you can possibly join, be sure to visit chess4unity.com. So chess4, the number 4, unity.com. Okay. Now that I got that advertisement out of the way, oh my gosh. When is it ever gonna let me just click on another game? You know what? This is getting quite annoying. Okay, so there's 3 games left, and I want to be able to click on them. So, again, I will have to refresh my page so chess.com can load. Thank you so much, chess.com, for making this process so difficult. Nah, it's not chess.com, it's me. It's my computer, but, you know, it is what it is. So, we did mention this position, and I think black made tremendous progress from where we left off. I would probably play king e7 now. King d7, king c7. Actually, no, it's not that simple, honestly. You do have to worry about some stuff related to knight c5, but black did a good job of locking up this queen side and kind of forcing all white's pawns on light squares, where they're subject to attack by the black bishop in the endgame. And right now, actually, black can just play bishop e6, honestly, I think is the best move. Bishop e6, targeting this c4 pawn. Okay, there are way too many arrows for my liking. Okay, black does play bishop e6, like we discussed. And I think that's a very great idea, because either provokes rook e4, which allows something like rook d1, where black penetrates into the d file, or provokes c5, which white plays in this position, but now white doesn't have the opportunity to play knight c5 anymore. So essentially the structure is committed, and now black can I gotta stop saying stuff like honestly, because it's getting very annoying. Black can double up on the b file and start attacking the white pawns. a6 is played, which makes sense because white wants the possibility of going knight a5, which white is going to do right now. But it does put the a6 pawn on the light square, allowing the bishop to start attacking. Okay, white plays rook e3. And honestly, black has so many options here. Black can play bishop takes b3, which will win a second pawn. White goes rook d2, rook a2, or anything you want, honestly. Position's a very good one. Let's put it that way, to say the least. And I think not taking on b3 was actually the wise decision. When you're up material, the worst kind of endgame you want to go to is a rook endgame, because those just somehow manages to like end up in a draw. Rook endings are just so annoying in that respect. So great for the defender who's down material, but when you have a material advantage, a draw is not the result you want. So in general, try to avoid rook endgames for the most part. Obviously, there are exceptions, but with one exception comes 10 sort of situations that actually follow the rules. So yeah, just be careful with rook endgames. Okay, rook b4 is played. Makes sense. But now knight a5 is interesting. Yeah, I don't think knight a5 is something that black really wanted to allow. Seems like a quite annoying situation. It's not the end of the world, but it is annoying. Now you allow knight to go to d6, which I guess is really not that big of a deal, because white doesn't have any entry squares for his rooks, and the knight alone can't do any damage. But it is something that white probably would have preferred to avoid. Black would have probably preferred to avoid. Another good idea for white would have just to play rook b3, in my opinion. Trading off a pair of rooks, because right now black has control of the b file. Once you trade it off, black loses that control. Right? For example, okay, rook b3, knight takes b3, knight takes b3. Right? If rook b7, white plays knight a5, and it becomes annoying again. Let's say something like king e7 happens, and black plays knight a5. Now we pretty much get the same exact position, but without the pair of rooks. And what that does for white is it allows white to possibly control the b file and penetrate. In this case, it might not work because maybe black has bishop c8. Yeah, but again here, if bishop c8, white has the opportunity to play rook d1. And if we take this pawn, white plays rook d6, attacking the c6 pawn. And honestly, this position, at this point, would probably just fizzle out to a draw. Which is something I'm sure white wouldn't mind in this situation. Okay, so this happened. Oh, I think black actually benefited from this trade. Rook a2 maybe, and then start pushing this pawn, possibly? Because really, white can try to enter the black position, but like I mentioned, although white has the b file, there really is just no weaknesses in black's position to penetrate. And the knight on d6 is just not going to do it. It's just not. And considering the fact that even the knight on d6 is unstable, because this c5 pawn is unstable, so possibly something like rook a5, I think could be strong. Even in this position. Okay, and one thing to both keep in mind is the time situation for both sides. Okay, rook a5 was played, and now this happened, and black has pretty much done the job. Yeah, those very nice ideas by black. Very nice play. Very great technique. And now f4 is coming, followed by bishop f5, and that's checkmate. Well, it depends actually, but you see what I'm saying. Black is just up way too much material here. Rook d1. Oh, we didn't even mention the fact that bishop c8 was hanging. And of course, there's no hope in this position. No hope. Rook d8, bishop e6. And black resigned. So that was a white resigned. So that was very great play by black. Gotta say, very impressed with the technique. Whoa. Okay. I don't know how that's possible, but I guess it is. So I guess I'm getting a 0-point buy, which sucks, but it does give us more time to watch the other games online possible. Okay, so 0-point buy it is. Unfortunate situation, which has honestly never happened before, but you deal with it and you move on. So let's kind of follow some of the top games in this round. So I will be playing the last game though, so somehow in that case we'll have to kind of just watch the top two boards fight it off. And at this point there are only 4 players that have 2 out of 2, including myself, but I'm not playing this round for some reason. So we'll have to watch the other 3 players who have 2 out of 2 and see kind of their situation. Okay, so Matthew D, Chessboy 20153. That's the top board in this situation. And both have 2 out of 2 and are competing for first place right now. Okay, interesting ideas from black. This kind of structure has always struck me as very interesting. I think black usually goes something like knight h5 here, right? Just trying to take this bishop on g3. Could be wrong though. I guess the downside to this kind of play for black is it does weaken the king side a little bit. But the point is that in black's perspective, it's worth it. It's worth weakening the king side a little bit to get the bishop pair because black is counting on white not being able to take advantage of the weak king side. Okay, let's see what happens. Rook d1. Makes sense. But I do have to question the fact that white chose to put that rook on d1. To me, it probably would have made more sense to put the rook a on d1. Okay, Queen e7 doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because the idea of just allowing knight d5 is just not great in my opinion. And in this position, white actually has the opportunity to play c5. I think that's a very interesting move because it opens up the position. It's taking advantage of the fact that after d takes c5, white has knight d5. So, okay, now I'm actually kind of afraid to actually make moves on the board. But hopefully white actually finds c5 so I can explain it. But let's see, what other moves are possible that white possibly is thinking about right now? I'm guessing d takes e5 is for sure a possibility. But, nah, I don't really like that much. Though d takes e5 followed by knight d5 and c5 does look very interesting and similar to what I just mentioned. Okay, white plays knight d5 immediately, which makes sense. There is one drawback of this move order, though, is that now c5 could be met by c6. Which, yeah, if c5 wasn't able to be met by c6, I would understand why you would play this, but apparently white's intention was not to play c5 in the first place, which I think is slightly inaccurate, but, you know, that's just my opinion. And b4 is very, how to say, I don't think it's necessary. I think now black has the opportunity of just, let's see, let me think about this. I guess this is possible. I mean, I guess it. Okay, let's watch some other games, see what's going on. Actually, you know, e4. Yeah, I was thinking of e4 and knight d2 for white. And then possibly c6 followed by f5 was what I was looking at. It did seem a little risky due to g4. I'm gonna be honest. But I'm reevaluating it, and it does look intriguing, to say the least. Okay, I don't think there's really other moves other than f5. I think f5 is pretty much forced in this situation, which is actually a little bit unfortunate. Now g4 is interesting. But black has knight f6. Right, so that's black's kind of savior move. Knight f6. Okay, I want to check another game right now, and chess.com is not letting me do that, so I'm going to refresh my screen. And hopefully that does not lead to another 0-point buy, because then that would be really unfortunate. Okay, this is the other game that I was hoping to look at. And this position is very interesting, actually. Okay, if I see that sign again, I'm actually going to be kind of pissed. Okay, let's look at this game. This game is very interesting because at first sight it seems like black is down a pawn, and it doesn't seem like it because black is down a pawn. But in my opinion, black is better. Black is better, why? Because black's pawn structure is better, and the chances that black is going to win back this pawn is very, very high. In fact, it's almost inevitable. Considering the situation, black is a4 is hanging right now, c4 is hanging. All white has to do is play one more move, rook a8, and the c2 a4 pawn is going to probably fall. Once the a4 pawn falls, like in my prediction, when I see this position, the final product I look at is sort of an endgame where black has the better pawn structure and the better bishop as well. Okay, so in this position, black is going this route, which I like. I like this move a lot. Rook b5, very great move. Because the idea is bishop takes c4, rook takes c5, queen takes c5, queen c3, wins the c4 bishop. And now white is threatening queen b2 check, winning the b7 pawn, which in that case, white is doing extremely well. So I think rook b5 is definitely a grandmaster move. Very, very great move. Yeah, and now white has a lot of options, but rook takes queen b2 check automatically wins the pawn on b7 and promises white an equal position, at least. Though it's not so simple still, black has very good compensation for the pawn. The activity is just unparalleled. And black's structure, in my opinion, this type of structure with d6, e7, f7, g6, h5, there's no better pawn structure in chess than that. It's just such a beautiful structure, in my opinion. I don't know. It's just kind of like that. Oh, I'm looking at some variations, and I think white actually might be winning. Or at least, okay, now I'm confident to say that white is better. Rook takes b7. White is going to do that, I'm pretty sure. He should, at least. Black plays bishop takes c4. White plays bishop takes c4. Black takes rook takes c4. White takes rook takes e7. I'm sure all of those moves are going to play out just the way that we talked about. Bishop takes c4. Rook takes c4. Rook takes e7. And now that e7 pawn is lost, the structure is gone. So white is up 2 pawns at that moment. White will only end up with 1 pawn up, but it still means that white has the advantage in that situation. Though let's see what happens, because I'm very interested. Okay, bishop takes e4, rook takes e4 like we mentioned, and now rook takes e7 is the move that I expect to see on the board. It's not every day you get to see this pawn structure, d6, e7, f7, g6, h5, be broken up. So if you have the opportunity to do that with rook takes e7, you might as well do it. Oh, h3 was played. Okay, that's somewhat surprising in a way. Yeah, I don't really like h3 as a move. I feel like because White could have done that later, right? There was no threat on the back rank. Like one of the ideas I guess Black was probably worried about. Okay, so let's say if rook takes e7, White was probably worried about something like rook c1. But after rook c1, White has a very, very nice move, rook e8 check. Rook e8 check, the idea is no matter which queen takes or rook takes, White has the option of playing rook takes c1 after that. And the position will end up White being a pawn up, a clean pawn up. And there's no risk in that situation, nothing to worry about. But that is a little bit difficult to see. Okay, Black plays e6, protecting the e7 pawn, which makes sense to me. And a5 makes sense to me if I was White. If I were White. But again, that's structure. Now, if both sides play perfectly, I picture a position that will end up with a dead draw, where it would be 4 pawns versus 4 pawns on the king side with the rook endgame. Rook b1 is not a move that I expect. I'm going to be totally honest. Though, I see why you play rook a1. Rook b1. Rook b1, if queen takes a4, then queen f6 could be dangerous. Actually, it's not dangerous at all. Yeah, no, it's not dangerous. It's just equal. Yeah, it's just equal. Yeah, so, no. Let's see if Black does take on a4. Which I think Black should do. Okay, rook c2 also I was kind of looking at, but that didn't really make that much sense to me because now queen f6 is even stronger. Queen b5 also looks interesting. I'm not, in all seriousness. Though queen b5 is probably just a draw because queen takes b5 and then rook takes a2. But queen f6 here is a very, very intriguing move. Oh, now rook takes f7. Let's see if... Wait. Yeah, let's see if White can find the move rook takes f7. Idea is if rook takes f7, then rook b8 will win. Rook b8, Black plays queen c8. You take, takes, and then you take every single Black pawn there is. Black wins. And the key move is after rook takes f7. If Black plays rook c1, White doesn't take back rook takes c1. White plays king h2. Another very nice move where that will end the game immediately. So it's a tough move. It's actually a tough thing. The toughest thing is to see rook c1, king h2. But if white does that, white wins the game. So let's see what happens. Very interested to see whether white can play that or not. White plays rook takes f7. Absolutely awesome move. Rook c1, and now king h2 is the key move here. King h2. And now black doesn't have time to take the rook on b1 because queen g7 is checkmate. And if he takes the rook on f7, then we go rook b8. And it transposes into the position we just talked about. With queen c8, rook takes c8, rook takes c8, queen takes g6. We'll see. Queen c8 is the only move. And now rook takes c8, takes, queen takes g6, king f8, queen takes e6. And this is the position that I was trying to talk about, where black just loses all his pawns. Queen takes d6. And although you have two rooks, you lose all your pawns, you lose the game. It's just the way the world works. Now queen e6 for white will do the job because this rook is hanging. So all white has to do is make a discover check. Queen d3 now. Great job. Okay, so Adorable Hill wins the game, which means Adorable Hill now has 2 out of 3, and Chess Dragon, who was one of the players that had a perfect score of 2 out of 2, now has 2 out of 3 as well. So there's a lot of 2 out of 3s. Okay, this is the other game, Matthew D versus Chessboy 20153, where this position seems to be awesome for black. Yeah, I think black is winning. The only move I can see to protect the knight on b3, knight on c4, is to play queen b3. But queen b3 allows black to play knight e2 check. The king moves, and knight takes c1. And the key, well, not the key, because even if it didn't, but the key is that knight takes c1 attacks the queen on b3 again, which means black does not have time to make any discovered check because the queen on b3 is hanging. Thus, there's no way for black to truly defend the c4 pawn. And there's no way for white to truly defend the c4 knight without compromising another part of his position. Therefore, if you can't protect the c4 knight, and you can't move it as well, because the rook on d6 relies on the c4 knight to protect the rook on d6, there's no chance. And Chessboy did something very, very smart. He has all the time in the world. 8 minutes. Okay, bishop d4 is not going to work because bishop takes d4 just wins. Plays bishop takes d4. And ends up with the piece up. And Matthew D has 28 seconds. Not a lot of time to think in chess. Bishop takes d4, e takes d4, queen takes c4, and yes, that should do it, pretty much. But, again, chess is a game where it's never over until it's over, so black has to convert this, and the easiest way to do that in this position is rook c8, yeah. Black plays rook c8, and now pretty much either forces white to give up the c file, which he does, or trade rooks, and trading rooks leads to easy win. This also leads to easy win. So, yeah. Rook c4. Or rook d8. Honestly, if I was black, I would just play rook d8. Just take the d4 pawn. Just kind of like a random comment. I really don't like when I say stuff like a rant, honestly. Because it's like one of those words that is like, yeah, if you don't say honestly, obviously it's honestly. Are you lying? No, I'm not lying. It's just one of those habits that's very annoying. Especially when I hear myself say it. Yeah. Anyways, just very random comment, but something I suddenly thought of for no particular reason. Black is playing smart chess right now. Smart chess. Now rook e3 is a very smart move. King f2, rook a3. Exactly. Rook takes a2 is inevitable. And now you lose the farm, you trade rooks. I mean, okay, you lose a rook. And yeah. Chess Boy wins by resignation. Okay. So let's see what's going on in the standings right now. There is one player with the perfect score. Chessboy 20153, who has a perfect score of 3 out of 3. There are 6 different players that have 2 out of 3, all of whom are competing for either first prize or second prize. Honestly, it still depends. Myself is one of those players with 2 out of 3. So, next round will get very interesting. I think based on what I'm seeing, there's a good chance I will be playing Chessboy 20153. I haven't played him yet, and I have the highest tiebreak among those who haven't played Chessboy 123 yet. Okay, I am trying to... Okay. So what's happening? There's 2 games left, I believe. Let's check them out. Okay, this is one of those games. Dragon Legend 12345 versus Zhou Qiheng. Dragon Legend, yeah, seems to not be in a very great situation. White should just start pushing c5, c6, and the rook and the king cannot handle the very, very powerful pawns that will soon be connected. I mean, they are connected right now, but soon the white pawn and the black pawn will both be on the 6th rank. And with this support, I mean, not the white pawn and the black pawn. Both white pawns, the B pawn and the C pawn, will both be on the 6th rank with the white rook to support it. And that is too much for black to handle. See? C6 is coming with or without black's permission. And now we have a situation where rook d8 followed by c7 wins the game. So this is a nice find. c7. And again, like I said before, earlier in the stream, okay, I was gonna say that when you're winning, you don't care about how much time your opponent has, you care about how much time you have. Because if you have time, you will win the game. You don't want time to come. Time is kind of like a annoying pest in chess that just continues to complicate games. And since time is not something you can just get rid of in a chess game, you might as well try to learn to deal with it, right? And to do with that, and to kind of accept that that's part of the process. Okay, this position is, I don't think, requires much comment. White is completely winning. As you can see, even those who don't really know how to play chess can see black has no pieces left. And I'll just kind of stay silent and let this game play out. Okay, king takes c8, and then you queen. That was not nice. Okay, skilled saver with the victory. Now it's time for the last game, last round, and the last game as well, where I will play against the leader of this tournament, Chessboy123. And we will have an interesting game. This will be very interesting. Because I will make it interesting. We will not go down without a fight. No draws allowed. That's the rule. Knight g7. This is all pretty standard for this opening. Queen c7, preventing this move e5. Now rook e1 plays, and I have no choice here but to play f6, which I don't really mind in this position, honestly. One of the ideas for this position for black is to play d4. Prevent this knight from going to e3, and now kind of fortify the position with e5, bishop e6, and start pushing on the queen side as soon as possible. And he goes knight d2. He's going to go knight c4. Just completely natural. And he's going to take this thing. Okay, bishop e6. Okay, he doesn't go knight c4, which is fine. Perfectly fine with me. Now I'm just going to go a6, b5. This is kind of an interesting structure, an interesting way to play against White's setup against the French. Okay, bishop a3. I'm not really sure what this move is trying to accomplish. I'm not even gonna lie, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Now my new plan is to penetrate on the A file, and that includes doubling rooks, and then possibly getting my queen to join the party. And the good thing is that White has spent so much time trying to fix the queen side that White is very behind on any sort of attack on the king side, which at this point might be already too late. Unless White finds some way somehow to attack the queen side, which would be the king side, which honestly would be very impressive because I don't see how right now. Okay, so White does try to focus on fortifying the king side, which makes sense. And another good thing about this position is that it's kind of easy to play because you already know your move and you already know your opponent's next move. So you just play. You just play. Just go knight b4. Just trying to put more pressure. He goes knight e1, protecting. Okay, and now I will go. Let's see. Where should I go? How about let's start with rook a5. just like a strange move, but promise, I do have an idea. At this point, I need to make sure I tie down his position. And that means kind of putting everything on the table until I find a way to break through, right? Because that's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a while to break through White's very solid position. But the good thing is that I'm the one trying to break through. Okay, so that is one thing I did worry about a little bit, which was the fact that there could be problems if I trade every piece, right? That would actually kind of make it harder for things to happen. Okay, knight takes a5 here. I'm going to go knight takes a5 because I want to go c4. That's really the only way right now I see to break through such a fortified position. The good thing is that I still have White sort of tied up, particularly the knight and the queen. The queen is not as tied up, but the knight on e1 is pretty much tied up. Okay, so that is an option that I thought I knew he was going to consider, to play c3. But I think that allows me to go knight a2, right? And knight a2 has the very promising idea of opening up files. Whether you play c4, try to close everything, it's still going to open up. C4 does give me a decision to make though. Like, how should I play this situation? Okay, so queen a1 is played. Now let's see how I can respond in the best way. The best way I see to do that is to take on c3. To take again on c3. And then, oh, I can't move my queen. Okay, I gotta be careful. I almost blundered with queen f7. That would not be pretty. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. At first, okay, so I definitely should have thought this through a little bit more because somehow I thought we were going to be able to. Okay, I have an idea. Let's go knight c6. He's probably going to play knight c2 or knight f3. Which I'm fully expecting. If he doesn't, I'm going to be kind of surprised. Okay, knight c2 was played. Now, knight c2 to me was a little bit worse than knight f3 because here I have the opportunity to play queen a5. Though, now that I'm thinking about it, it's not quite accomplishing what I hoped for. Okay, so the other option I was thinking of was just to play knight d4, which right now looks a little bit more enticing. And the idea is that black plays knight takes d4, white plays knight takes d4, which I think is almost forced. I mean, I guess you can play king f1 or bishop f1, but I think it's hard to be imagined that white doesn't take on d4. And now I can play c takes d4. And the whole idea is I'm in time after the queen trade to win this pawn on b3. I think I can win this pawn on b3. And I think if I win this pawn on b3 with either bishop a5 or b4 bishop d6, I think I have very good chances for something good to happen. Okay, so he allows me to play bishop a5 and still keep the bishop pair, which I'm a little bit surprised. I thought he'd play king f1, king e2, and force me to at least give up the dark square bishop. But this actually makes it better for me. As I can just play bishop takes b3. And if knight a3, I just play b4. And if that move, I was thinking possibly bishop b4, preventing all these escape squares. And next move is bishop c2, and the knight is trapped. I think that's unstoppable. Or if bishop h3, which is an interesting move to try to get the bishop back there. I can either play bishop a2, which also probably wins the knight. I mean, not probably. Will win the knight. Or king f7. So f4 is played. Just desperation. If he takes, I'll take back. Okay, now it's just a matter of conversion. Confident we can convert this advantage. 153. Now let's just push the pawn the rest of the way. Now the rest of the game, not very gonna comment very much. Just gonna let it play out. Just bishop c2. Okay, there it is. Good game, Chessboy20153. Okay, so that was the last round. Glad we took care of that. Now let's see how everyone else is doing. Let's check some of the other 2 out of 2 candidates. Okay, this looks very great for black. Very, very great. Material is equal. Wow, I can't believe material is actually equal. Wow, material is actually equal. Queen takes h5. Now white is actually up a pawn, but really, I don't think that really matters that much. I think black is definitely better, if not winning. It's just when you have a position where, okay, bishop takes f2, bishop f4, queen takes b2. Like, I don't understand how there's any way you can survive this. Bishop f4 is forced. Pretty much, right? Or, I mean, not really, but like, what else are you supposed to do? Queen f3, I guess. Yeah, that's also a good move, I think. If I were black, I'd probably just be more patient in this position and kind of go bishop f3, bishop g3, king h1, maybe rook f6, trade off the rooks, and then go rook e8 and bring the other rook in, and then start taking pawns. That would be my plan. Though, if we're talking about this situation, yeah, black can probably do better than everything I just suggested, but, you know, better safe than sorry, always. Queen g2 is a nice move. Actually, no, wait, hold on. Black can play bishop g3 here, no? I mean, black can, I guess. White doesn't have to take back. White can go king h1. Yeah, this kind of goes back to the position that I was thinking of. Yeah, bishop g3 is pretty much forced. I mean, not forced, but, you know. Okay, so black plays bishop g3, which is a very nice move. Glad he caught that. Now the idea is if the king takes g3, rook g6 wins the queen on g2. If queen takes g3, rook takes f1 wins the rook on f1. So black's only move to keep the material balance is king h1. But king h1 also has its drawbacks in that it allows moves like rook takes f1 and then followed by rook e8. Okay, black plays rook g6 instead, which I also think is a decent move. Maybe not the best move, but also maintains all of black's advantages. Sometimes in a winning position, you don't have to look for the decisive blow, right? Even if there is, if you're able to keep your advantage long enough, it will, like for the most part, in the most cases, it will turn out to your advantage. Okay, so this position, let's go rook queen d4. Okay, that's interesting. I understand queen d4, where black is coming from. Queen, in this, centralizing the queen is almost never a mistake. It's really one of those principles in chess that, like, for the most part, always work. And another thing that we have to keep in mind, like I said, when you're better, time. White has the humongous time advantage here. 5 minutes and 50 seconds to 54 seconds for black. So, yeah, black could have definitely done better in that respect. Because now, that's something black has to worry about. Queen f5, black probably plays. White plays, I mean, yeah. Okay, yeah, I feel like white, there's really not much advantage anymore for black anymore. Even if there is, it's very difficult to practically recognize it because bishop e3, I would play bishop e3 if I was white, and now development is over, right? Development is over. Missed the best chance you had to take advantage of the fact that you had more active pieces, you had better development. White's kingside was weak. Okay, now that's Yeah, here's the thing. Like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. F5. Yeah. I mean, understanding it's 22 seconds, but I think Rook F6 is pretty, in this case, very obvious. Okay, but he's going F5, F4. Okay, Black is almost pre-moving, which is not great, but still. Black is doing well right now. Rook E3 is coming. Yeah, so allowing Queen D7 possibly is coming. I think if I were Black, next move is Queen D7, no matter what. Queen D7, Queen G2, Black goes Rook E2, and the game is over. Interesting decoy. Take the knight, take the queen out of defense of H3 pawn, because right now all Black has to do is attack the H3 pawn and White loses. But how do you do that? The only defender that White has that can possibly defend the H3 pawn is the queen. The queen on F3. The only resource that's available to do that. Okay, but like in this situation, the king can also do it. As long as the king is on, as long as the rook is on the g file, the king couldn't move. But now the king can. So king g2 probably is the most obvious, but king g2 leads to another problem. Okay, queen g4 makes sense, obvious as well. Oh, yeah, you have to keep in mind, queen g4 also attacks the g7 pawn. So Black loses that aspect. And now, like, I don't think Black really has an advantage anymore. Rook c5, if I was White, I would definitely consider. Rook c5, rook g5. That's kind of the main problem of letting yourself lose track of time, because 6 seconds, not a lot of time to even consider a move. So you can't really blame Black for not finding the most accurate moves when he has 6 seconds. But Black could have definitely done a better job in avoiding putting himself in the position where he only has 6 seconds left, especially in a position where he definitely didn't have to use that much time. Like I mentioned, time is kind of like a parasite in chess. Just eats away until you have nothing, and there's really nothing you can do to change it. But you could try to stop it. And yeah, rook c4 for White was definitely a blunder. In this case, queen e2 should do the job. Well, White has one more resource, queen d5, followed by queen g2, but then you lose the piece. You lose the bishop on b2, so that won't go very well either. And there is increment in this game, so that does definitely help Black. If there wasn't, actually, if there wasn't increment, Black would have lost on time already. But there is increment, and if Black plays accurately, Black calculates right now. Whoa. Oh. Rook g6. Okay. Okay, Black definitely calculated for sure. That's a very nice combination. Now, like, White is getting mated. Queen h2 is coming. Yeah, so black definitely did a great job of playing under time pressure. That's for sure. So congratulations to black for that. Matthew D, that was a very nice showcase of playing under time pressure. I'm pretty sure this is probably the last game because games don't really last that long. Okay. Okay, so that's going to be it for today. Thank you all for tuning in to Chess4Unity's third Saturday event. Congratulations to Chess Boy, Matthew, myself, and there were two other people who also tied for first with 3 out of 4 points. And we will all be getting our piece of the pie. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next month. Bye.